This guy has literally been on the road for how long, dude? You even like...
I think since the album dropped.
Wow. You're like, man, it feels so good to be back in LA. I was like, how long are you here? You're like 3 days, dude.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like? It's been crazy.
That's
a lot of fun, though.
That's incredible. Like, so we're gonna go through your whole history, your recording process, what's gotten you to where you are today. But let's start off in the early days. What was your first memory of music? What really got you into it?
House parties.
Okay.
I always said my parents play a lot of gangster rap and oldies, you know, so if you listen to my music, it has a lot of influence, you know, from that signature sound, whether I like it or not. Mm-hmm. I'm always influenced from it.
Was that first record that you remember?
Snoop Dogg, what's my name? Yep,
okay.
Yep. Anything with Dre and Snoop, I think that was my earliest memories of actually knowing records.
That's incredible, man. What was the moment where you actually started rapping? When did you first like start experimenting? Were you always like kind of just doing it for fun, or was it something that you...
What's crazy, my auntie used to play around and just be having us, you know, me and my cousins just play around and freestyle. We didn't know what we was doing, like 9 years old. But I got serious with it when I was like 13. Mm-hmm. Yep, I was inspired by DMX's first album.
Yep. It's a great album, dude.
Yeah, man.
And I actually saw you gave credit to X for one of your for some of your flow from Swimming Pool from Damien off of X's album, right?
Yep, definitely. The album is classic.
Yeah.
Classic to me. Like you said, Swimming Pools, it definitely takes a niche from that where he's battling these two ideas in his brain and putting them on record.
Yeah, man. What was it like growing up in Compton, and Compton being the gangsta music capital, I guess, of the world, right. You know?
Yeah. It definitely was the lifestyle. The music I was hearing was the same thing I seen walking outside that door, so it was more relatable than anything, and you was that much more connected with what you was hearing from Snoop or Dre or NWA or DJ Quick, you know, so I definitely, it was more of a connection than just music for us.
You always pay homage to the legends, like even on the album you have M.A.A.d, who not necessarily, you know, you didn't have a lot of features, and you know, I think people would have thought if you got one, it would have been the huge names and stuff. What made you want to put M.A.A.d on your album? We'll go more in depth with that later, but since we're talking about Compton.
Everything plays a part, you know, in the album as far as the concept. Not only do I respect, you know, my legends and my OGs, but it definitely plays a part in the album where I wanted this OG figure to almost be giving me the game just like the OGs gave me the game in the neighborhood, you know, and that's what that record represents. And I want to go back and get the new generation familiar with people we grew up listening to.
That's true. So the people you grew up listening to, Dre, Snoop, the biggest in the world. Then when you were really probably coming up, the West Coast wasn't really hot at the time and stuff. What were you listening to after because there was a whole stretch and period where the West couldn't get a hit to save its life?
Yeah, I think right when I started writing, DMX album.
Yeah, exactly. The East Coast ran
the East Coast,
hip hop at the time.
With that, yeah, exactly. That's when I started listening to like Jay and Nas. You know, we from the West Coast. I was young. I'm just following my older cousins and uncles. All we listened to was the West, you know. So I wasn't influenced by Biggie until I got in my teenage years, you know, and Nas as well. I was aware of them, but I didn't recognize their talents and the legacy they was putting on records.
Was there one album, I know you mentioned DMX, but was there one album specifically going back that really made you want to be an artist yourself? Where you were like, damn, like, that's what I want to do.
There's a few of them. What popped in my head right now is E40.
Wow. Shout to 40.
Yeah, man, legend.
So underrated. It's interesting how you always go to, like, you always give credit to the big ones, the Dre's and all that stuff, but you always go to, like, not the biggest artist in the world. Like, 40's huge, but he's not on the same, you know, in terms of sales numbers and stuff as a Dre, as a Snoop.
It's not even about that, you know. 40, what 40 put in the game was originality, you know, as well as lyrics, as well as...
Even in so many words and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. As well as lyrics, as well as concept, as well as depth, you know. The new generation see him now, you know, he's still relevant, you know, for what he's doing now and still killing it. But when you asked that question, the first thing that popped in my head was Charlie Hustle. You know, and I grew up on that record, and that was around the same time I started writing my music. And hearing that record, it put me in a mode where I want to do this.
That's incredible. All right, so you listened to all this stuff. When did you actually first actively start rapping outside of just your bedroom and friends and all that stuff? Do you ever remember the memories of like your first rhyme that you wrote?
Yeah, the first rhyme I wrote, it had to be in Vanguard Middle School
Okay.
in Compton. Yeah, just regular at the lunch table.
Okay.
Me and my partners, Cannon.
And what made you want to write this? Was it because other people were doing it and you kind of just did it, or did you just feel that you needed to do this?
Yeah, well, at the moment, like I said, X came out. He came with that video. We was into videos heavy, BET, MTV, and that song, Stop, Drop, it just turned us up.
Rough Riders anthem.
Yeah, we was faking like we was him.
As I was too, by the way, in Minneapolis
yeah.
at the same time, so don't tell anybody.
Yeah, people don't know. I always go back to the moments, man, because that song was serious for us. It really sparked an idea like, man, let's do this too, you know, and we already had the passion for music.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we started doing it and it becomes natural feeling, then you're involved in it every day until it leads up to this point where I'm talking in front of you.